Hi everyone, how are you all? It's Mr. Stanley. I wanted to drop some awesome on you today. I had just recently finished doing some research for a class that I took on stress and managing stress and how to become more mindful to kind of lessen the stress. And I wanted to share with you some things that I've learned and kind of incorporate some of what I've learned and I'll also kind of reiterate some of the things that we've already been doing in advisory. So, welcome to the screencast. Like I said, I'm Mr. Stanley, and here is becoming a better you. So we're going to understand all about you and kind of think about how you go through your day and kind of how you've lived your young life so far. So thinking as sixth graders, you have to think to yourself, you haven't been around a whole long time. I've been around for 45 years, so some of these strategies I wish I had when I was in sixth grade because it really would have helped me got through some tough times and maybe even kind of rewired my brain a bit to help me be more successful kind of as a young adult like you are. So I'm kind of dedicating this to you so that hopefully you'll take something along the way with you to make your day better and ultimately make your life better too. So the first thing I want to talk to you is about inner chatter. And I learned in my class that we have about 60 to 80,000 thoughts per day. Now that's pretty crazy to think about when you kind of just pause for a second and think about 60,000 to 80,000 of anything is very large. But we have those thoughts a day in total. Now, out of those thoughts, 80% of those are negative thoughts. So why would we need to change that? Thinking about how they might compound over time, and you build up negative thought after negative thought after negative thought. And this person's illustration of this man here that's definitely feeling the inner chatter. And over time, that can build up, and it can change who you become and change who you are. And it also can affect the others around you too. So changing this is going to make you and your world a whole lot better. And part of the reason I wanted to start with inner chatter is because this is something that I made a connection with during my research to share with you. That a lot of times in our day, I often hear students say things like, "I'm not going to do well on this quiz. I never do homework, so I'm not going to study." I hear students say, "I'm an awful writer," or I hear students say, "My vocabulary stinks." So when I hear those things, this really hit home for me, and this is why I really wanted to share this with you, because a lot of times your inner chatter can kind of dictate where you go and kind of like guide you on your journey. I'd like you to think of inner chatter as kind of like a pet. Let's say a puppy, for instance. If you take a puppy and you let that puppy do a lot of negative things, like chew on your phone, chew on your shoes. When you're walking the puppy and it sees somebody, gets excited, and it jumps up on its visitor. And those are kind of unwanted, unneeded things as a pet owner. So you need to kind of train your dog to make sure that you get the results you want. You want to have shoes that aren't chewed up. You also want to have phones that are in working order, and you don't want to have random strangers be jumped on by your dog. So that inner chatter is a lot like that puppy, that negative puppy that is, doing all those unwanted things. So in order to do that, you have to spend time with pause the dog, train the dog for the positive things. So chew on this, not that. Sit when greeted, those kind of things for your dog. So for you, how do you do that? How do you change this inner chatter? Well, I happened in my research go to this TED Talk, which I linked here if you wanted to take a look at it. It's really interesting. This Abria Joseph, he says, the subconscious mind and the conscious mind does not know the difference between positive and negative energy. It just knows energy. So when your brain goes, it just goes. It's electrical systems. It's there's all different kinds of chemicals and hormones that are going on all together, all at once, and it just knows the activity. It just runs like a car. But it doesn't know the difference between what's positive and negative, and the negative side kind of takes over. So what we want to do is we want to change that energy and create that energy into something that is much more positive in our lives. So I thought we'd start off with an activity first. You can kind of see here, if you are an iOS user, and most of us have iPads, I know we don't have the messaging feature, but in the messaging app, if someone on the other end of your text thread is typing, these three little dots will blink. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to start off with a little activity of you kind of reflecting on maybe how you might have a thought or thoughts, what might go through your mind if this happened to you. All right, so let's say that you're having a difficult conversation through text with a close friend, and these three bubbles pop up and then they go away. So it could be maybe you're having friend issues, maybe your friend invites you over to a party and you're not sure if you should go. Maybe you're having an issue with somebody, they've befriended somebody that you know is not good for them, so you're not sure how to respond, or you've responded and said something that maybe you wish you hadn't said. But anyway, the other person on the other end, they're typing, and then all of a sudden it disappears. It goes away. Your friend doesn't respond to you. Hours go by. What are you thinking? What does your inner chatter sound like? Pause this video for a minute and think about maybe what you're thinking to yourself. Okay, so maybe you said some things like my friend doesn't like me anymore. This is all over. I'm in big trouble. Maybe there's something like that had gone through your mind. So it's the story that you're making up. You want to use this inner chatter to be curious and to connect with the situation. So in that previous situation, if your friend's not answering, your mind tends to wander, like the lost puppy kind of goes away. It's not good on a leash. It's not doing what it's supposed to do. Well, your brain's the same way. Your brain wants to say, my friend hates me. Your brain wants to say, this isn't good for me. I'm a bad person. I shouldn't have said those things. And it's over. It's a negative. So rather than being hurtful and disrespectful to yourself, you need to be curious. Maybe my friend's phone died. Maybe my friend's mom came in and took the phone away because of some unwanted, unneeded desire, right? So, we have to always think about, okay, maybe I did do something, but you don't always need to expect the worst. And always expecting the worst, most of the time that doesn't come true. So, one thing that we can do to kind of get rid of these negative thoughts, and in situations like that, either, school or even like say with friends, what we need to do is practice mindfulness. And a lot of times, I know that there's some other teachers on our community that practice mindfulness. This is just another couple of tools that I found that I thought maybe we could start with. And I know we've done some things similar to this in advisory, so I wanted to kind of stop and notice actually, what is mindfulness? What are we doing when these teachers do this? What we're doing is we're trying to get you to stop and notice things. Okay, notice how you feel. Bring attention to the present moment. Are you stressful and you need to calm down? Are you negative and need to be positive? So be alive with purpose. Don't just walk and go through the motions. Get the A's, be done. Have curiosity. Have connections with who you are and with the others around you. So let's start with values. Okay, I have given you a list of values in your Google Classroom, and I want you to look at these values. These values I found in my research. And I wanted you to rank them in order of importance. So choose 3 from the list and rank them in order of importance. I'm going to have you pause the video. I want you to think about why you choose those 3 and why did you put them in this order. Okay, so thinking about why you put those values in order and why those 3 meant something to you. And now as you think about those values, I want you to take a look at just one of these questions. So there's a list of questions here, and I'd like you to choose only one of these questions. I got these from Edutopia. I thought that was an interesting, this is an interesting lesson. And one of these questions probably most likely relates to something that you chose on your value list. And all I want you to do is just answer that question. You don't need to name any names if you don't want to. You don't even have to sign it. I would probably prefer that you didn't. And I just want you to answer one question. And I've given you a link to a Padlet in your Google Classroom. And I want you to answer that question as a post in the Padlet. When you're finished, take a look at the wall and have an online conversation. Make comments on others to see what we all have in common. There might be some of those values that you have in common with somebody in this community or in this class that might help you make a connection. And that tells us, like, we have to think about, what does that tell us about our community? What does it tell us about who we are in our own classroom and in our sixth grade and, community, and as a sixth grade as a whole? All right, so now that we've taken some time to do that, I'd like to end our session today with something called Focus 5. And I don't know if you remember or not. I know that there were a handful of teachers, because this is my first year teaching sixth grade back in the middle school after 10 years of being in third grade. And I used to do these Take 5 exercises, which is basically, they're basically these mindfulness activities. And one of the things that really got to me when I was doing my research was how beneficial it is, like how much it means to me to practice gratitude. I'd just like for us to take just a quick couple of minutes, and I'd like you to spend some time with some gratitude. So I want you to sit up tall in your chair, feet flat on the floor. And if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes, tune out any distractions. Slowly inhale through your nose, then exhale out through your nose. I want you to breathe calmly like this for about 5 to 10 breaths. Now I'd like you to think of a time when somebody did something for you out of kindness of their heart, just to help you out. Take a moment to really picture this person in your mind. Try to remember and recreate this moment completely and fully in your mind. What was going on? What did they do for you? How did it make you feel? Allow yourself to notice any thoughts or emotions that start to come up. Just sit with these thoughts and emotions for just a moment. Now I want you to think about a time when you did something for something helpful or kind to someone else. Imagine that person. Vividly remember what it was like to help this person and recreate this moment in your mind. Notice how your body feels. Notice the thoughts and emotions that are going through your body right now. Continue to imagine the situation in your mind, all the while breathe calmly in and out through your nose. Now slowly open your eyes. So just that quick couple of minutes, taking some time to think about what others have done to you and what you can do for others. Thinking about that. I know we've seen some YouTubes and some videos of like the chain reaction of kindness. We explored that a lot in the month of March. But you actually thinking of those times in your life can make a much deeper and much more meaningful connection that you have with yourself and creating a more positive and better you. So I'd like to thank you for listening to this screencast, and thank you for posting on the Padlet. In your Google Classroom, there's a little document for any of your thoughts or gratitudes that you'd like to write down. I appreciate you listening to this, and think of yourself, whenever you feel yourself being negative, just remember who you are, remember your values, and take time often, at least once a day, just to think about and just breathe for a moment and breathe in gratitude for yourself and others, and then breathe out the gratitude that you'd like to show and give others. Have a wonderful day, everybody.